What's going on, YouTube? Back with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. This one, I normally try to do reactions with a more light and jovial tone, but this one, I don't know. This one is last videos of people before they disappeared. I don't know. I don't really got an intro for it. I'm just eager to get into the video. So no further ado, let's get into the video.
Video footage can be a useful piece of evidence in virtually any ongoing investigation. However, it seems to be especially important when it comes to missing persons cases. Sometimes detectives are lucky enough to find surveillance footage of missing people, which helps them create a timeline of their disappearance and generally moves the search in the right direction. In 2019, countless people vanished without a trace, but the last known location of these few victims was luckily confirmed when they were discovered in video footage. Number 5. 41-year-old John Johnson is a relatively well-known Icelandic player in the world of poker who went missing in February of 2019. In the first week of February, John and his fiancée set out on a trip to Dublin so that John could participate in a very important upcoming poker game. Kristjana, his fiancée, was held up at the airport thanks to passport issues, but John carried on with his trip without her, arriving to his hotel in Whitehall earlier than expected. On Friday night when he returned, he played a game and lost over $4,000. However, when his hotel in Whitehall earlier than expected. On Friday night when he returned, he played a game and lost over $4,000. However, when his family later communicated with the popular Irish TV true crime series, they explained that his loss of money, while still significant, was just part of John's career as a poker player, and it wouldn't likely lead to any rash decisions or runaways on his end. It should also be noted that after losing the money, John calmly returned to his hotel room, had a light dinner, and went to bed early, all of which certainly does not indicate that he planned on vanishing. Overall, the family's statements and given the evidence doesn't suggest that John went missing voluntarily. Saturday morning, his fiancée arrived at the hotel and woke her fiancé up. The couple talked for a short time, and according to her, everything was normal. They planned on the rest of their day before they proceeded to unpack. A few moments later, however, at 11 a.m., John left the hotel room without informing his fiancée of his plans or destination. He abruptly and silently walked out, leaving behind all of his most important belongings, including his passport, phone, and wallet. He was reported missing later that day when his fiancée hadn't heard from him in several hours, despite the approaching poker festival, which was the sole reason for the couple's trip. He was officially considered a missing person on February 9, 2019, and there's still been no sign of him. Not long after he vanished, though, police released CCTV footage which they had collected as evidence that showed the last confirmed whereabouts of the victim. The footage was made public and later aired on the TV series Crime Call. The videos showed John leaving his hotel room at around 11 a.m. after walking out of his room. From the hotel exit, he makes a right and continues down the relatively busy city street. Footage from another camera, further down, suggests that John went to the Highfield healthcare facility at the end of the block. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem as though he ever stepped foot inside the facility, because the surveillance footage shows no signs of him entering the building, and there's no recording of him signing in or making a visit. In the videos, John doesn't appear to be angry, fearful, or abnormal in any way. John Johnson has still not been found, and while police believe there was no foul play here, his family fears he may no longer be alive.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Because 4,000, that's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not a lot of money. But we don't know, did he pay that? Does he owe that? Is that paid? Or I don't know. And he just left without saying anything. I don't know. That's crazy.
Number 4.
I have no idea. I took that down a little bit. There we go.
21-year-old Tapiwa Matui has currently been missing for 10 months after he vanished during a night out with friends in Swansea, Wales in February of 2019. Tapi, as he's called by his friends, informed his parents that he was going out to a popular local club with a group of friends on the evening of February 6th. While this was common practice for the young man, his parents still requested that he keep in contact simply to ease their worries. His parents asked this of him very often, and as they reported, it was very unlike him to not keep them updated. Additionally, it was uncommon for him to not return home before later on in the following day. When over 24 hours had passed without a word or a trace from their son, the Matui family reported him missing. A search quickly went underway and police were able to collect CCTV footage of Tapi's post-clubbing adventures fairly early on. This compilation was created and released, which tracks many of Tapi's last known whereabouts. The first video was captured around 4:50 a.m. after Tapi and his friends left the club. It comes from a McDonald's on Oxford Street of Castle Gardens. Tapi enters the fast food chain with another man seen wearing a blue shirt. The pair enter and loiter for a short time, clearly intoxicated. Eventually, Tapi leaves alone and the footage shows him walking towards Caesar Street around 5 a.m. He talks to St. David's Students' Accommodation Office on New Cut Road, where he enters and quickly exits the building at 5:10 a.m. before walking off in the opposite direction. 20 minutes later, he's filmed stumbling along Sainsbury and Quay Parade. Finally, the last bit of footage shows Tapi walking behind the Swansea Yacht Club at 7:06 a.m. It's unclear where he went after this, but it's the last confirmed sighting of the young man alive. While these video segments, released in March of 2019, helped investigators create a general timeline of Tapi's travels, it hasn't brought them any closer to finding him. When this was originally released, a statement followed saying, "We're releasing this footage in case it helps jog anyone's memory from that morning, and I'd urge anyone who thinks they have information which may help, however insignificant it may seem, to come forward." Tapi's family insists that he would never run away from home. While the man in the blue shirt was later identified by police, he had nothing of significance to offer in the investigation and was not considered a suspect.
Hey, that's why, especially when you're intoxicated, especially early in the morning, do not make sure that you're not alone. Make sure that you're not alone. That's crazy, man. I don't know. This is kind of like different for me because you actually see the last footage of them when they've last been seen or last been spotted. So it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. I'm kind of at a loss for words. But when going out, especially in tonight in clubs that close early, very early in the morning, always make sure you're with somebody. You have somebody who's with you. You know, and keep in contact with people on your phone so they know your last whereabouts. My parents have always been hard on that with me. You go out, make sure that somebody knows where you're going, where you are at all times. And I'm glad now that people are allowed to share the location. So I feel like everybody out there should at least share the location with somebody, at least one person. Share your location with someone, just in case anything goes wrong. This is crazy.
Number 3. While police have only recently released still images of this case, they were obtained from video surveillance footage. On June 17, 2019, 23-year-old Mackenzie Luke, a California native, landed at the International Airport in Salt Lake City, Utah, where she was supposed to begin a semester of college. Mackenzie's parents didn't hear from her after her flight landed or in the several days that followed. She missed every phone call and failed to show up for a final exam. As a result, her concerned parents reported her missing. The investigation that followed quickly discovered the CCTV footage, which shows the missing woman after her flight. While we can't assume too much from these photos, it's been mentioned that Mackenzie seemed to wander around the airport aimlessly, as though she was waiting for someone. Investigators found that she took a lift from the airport to Hatch Park. Her driver was apprehended and interrogated as a possible suspect, but was released later on after they confirmed his alibi. He said that she seemed in good spirits and casually mentioned that she was meeting someone at the park. It turns out she'd been communicating with a 31-year-old named Ayula Ajay, a man she met online, prior to this meeting. Data collected from both of their phones confirmed that they were at the park at the same time. A warrant allowed investigators to search the man's property. In July of 2019, the charred remains and belongings of Luke were found in the man's backyard, and he's since been arrested as the sole person of interest. An anonymous contractor came forward after the man's arrest and claimed that he wanted a soundproof room built in April. He requested that the room contained concrete walls with hooks in them and a fingerprint lock. The room was never built. An investigation is still ongoing and there's been little to no updates in the case. Her Lyft driver is the last confirmed witness to have seen her.
And that's another thing. You have to be that internet dating, that internet finding love through the internet. That's a very, very dangerous thing. You don't know people. People are crazy. People out there, they don't care about human lives. They don't care about humanity. I feel like as a contractor, if somebody wants a soundproof room with hooks and fingerprint locks or whatever, call the police. Call the police. She was supposed to start college. She's young. She was supposed to start college. Wow. She was supposed to start college. That's
Number
young.
2. 26-year-old Prisma Reyes went missing from her hometown in Mesquite, Texas on April 17, 2019, and this surveillance footage is the last known trace of the woman's whereabouts. On that Wednesday, Prisma went to work as usual after dropping off her 6-year-old son with a babysitter. She took her lunch break at the regularly scheduled time around 12 p.m. noon, but failed to return to work afterward. Later that day, around 7:30 p.m., she was supposed to pick up her son from the babysitter as she did every day. As you can guess, she never arrived. The sitter contacted Prisma's family, who spent the next 2 hours trying desperately to contact her via phone. They visited her home as an extra precaution and found no sign that she'd returned there the following day. She was reported missing at 9:30 p.m. and police instantly took action. Prisma was nowhere to be found, and an investigation was soon part of the search. The following morning, police found her abandoned 2017 Jeep Wrangler in the 3500 block of Roseland Avenue in Dallas. Eventually, a general timeline was created of Prisma's final day, before vanishing, thanks to her debit card purchase history. During her lunch break, Prisma was seen at the E-Bar Tex-Mex restaurant, located at North Haskell Avenue with the man later identified to be her ex-boyfriend. Footage shows the man sharing a meal with Prisma before leaving about an hour later. Despite being expected back to work, Prisma stayed at the bar and had many more drinks. Eventually, the bartender cut her off, and she was asked to leave shortly after due to what staff described as verbal disturbance, likely meaning that she was just being too loud. Staff could not confirm if the victim was intoxicated when she left. After leaving, Prisma was involved in a very odd road rage accident. The public details of the situation are very vague, but it seemed as though Prisma got into a shouting match with another driver, and police were called to the scene. By the time they arrived, Prisma had fled. No threats were made and no one was hurt, and police believed that this strange bit of Prisma's day was unrelated to her disappearance. Police also found surveillance footage from the Olympus at Ross apartments along Ross Avenue. Although the video was found shortly after she vanished, police did not release the footage to the public until August. It shows Prisma running into a garage at the apartments, talking on the phone while waiting for the elevator, swaying back and forth as though intoxicated or nervous, and entering the elevator with the resident who later told police she was crying heavily. The apartments were near the location where Prisma's abandoned car was found. Additionally, the ex-boyfriend that Prisma had lunch with lived in the complex. He was apparently not home at the time of her visit, and police later contacted the person Prisma was talking to on the phone in the video, and the ex-boyfriend, but both were let off the hook, as investigators had no reason to believe that they were involved. Overall, the case remains a mystery, and despite the abundant information concerning the victim's day, she has still not been found.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Number 1.
Like she got snatched. I don't know. This is crazy.
This surveillance footage may seem mundane to the average viewer, but for the family of 23-year-old Kiara Henry, it's heartbreaking. The footage was collected on July 21st, 2019 at 2 p.m. before the San Diego woman suddenly vanished while on a trip to Maui. The video from the surveillance cameras at the Hertz rental car facility shows Kiara patiently waiting at the front counter talking to an employee, leaving some of her belongings under a table and walking out of the store. Kiara was reported missing by her family when they didn't hear from her for several days. This behavior was very unlike her, and the fact that she went silent on such a distant trip caused her family to worry even more. It was later discovered that Kiara was renting the car for just one day and planned to visit a local state park. Her family reported that she'd taken a tour of the park the day before and loved it, wanting to return as soon as possible. In a lengthy Facebook post shared by her family, they explained the same day Kiara rented the car, she attempted to make a hotel reservation. She also booked a flight home on July 29th. By all accounts, it appears as though she planned on being here for just one night, and then returned the next day to San Diego. The car was later found by rangers in a parking area of the state park. After several days of sitting in place, it was reported abandoned. The history and information in the car's data memory show that it was taken from a rental lot to the park, without veering from the route. Inside the car, the woman's luggage, ID, and credit card had been left behind. A small backpack, the car keys, and her iPhone were missing, which suggests that she took them with intention of returning. Her phone and bank account have not been used since the morning of her disappearance. As of now, her family considers this surveillance footage as the last known sighting of their loved one. There's been no sign of the missing victim since July. Her family plans to temporarily move to Maui as the search continues. Thank you guys so much for...
I don't know, y'all. This is crazy. I think being a detective has to be hard because I'm trying to make it make sense, but it doesn't make sense. I see why they call it mysterious, but it makes no sense. But it sounds like a lot of these people got snatched. That's what it sounds like to me. A lot of these people. That's why I'm just at a loss for words. But look, you guys, always make sure that when you're going somewhere, you will have a +1. No matter where you're going, always make sure you have a +1, and that you're sharing your location with a loved one. Please, I got to start. I'm talking to myself too. I got to start doing that too, because this was. I don't know. This was different. This one was a little bit heartbreaking. This is a little crazy, but anyway, y'all, that's gonna be it for my reaction. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Oh wow! I'll talk to y'all next time. I'm out.